As the sun sets, setting on another year, time to take stock. "2024, maybe you are checking your rear view mirror, but the gaze at our horizon, which dawns another day. Welcome to 2025. Good evening and thanks for watching our year-end special as we take a look back at some of the top stories of 2024. We start tonight with some of the top crime stories of the year. In February, 17 people were arrested accused of drug trafficking in Abilene. The U.S. Attorney's Office said the operation involved more than 80 agents from several different agencies, including the Taylor County Sheriff's Office and the Abilene Police Department. They say those agents seized 29 kilos of meth, 721 grams of cocaine, more than 1,300 grams of fentanyl, and 60 guns. Taylor County Sheriff Ricky Bishop said the investigation started 4 years ago and blew up into an extremely complex case. Abilene police were involved in 4 deadly officer-involved shootings this year. One in April on Grape Street, one in May on North Willis, one in July on Pueblo Drive, and the 4th in August on North 9th Street. Chief Ron Searate said mental health issues and substance abuse were reasons for the rise in violent incidents. He said to address this, they've partnered with local organizations to provide support and intervention before crises escalate. In late October, Abilene police investigated 3 murders in 3 days. The first happened at Spanky P's Tavern at about 3 a.m. Sunday, the 27th. Police say 32-year-old Anthony Evans shot 30-year-old Hayden Smith. Evans later turned himself in. About an hour later that same morning, police say a security guard shot and killed a man at Bravo Hookah Lounge. Police say 51-year-old Teddy Mills shot 32-year-old Deshaun Colin. Court documents say Mills fired 2 shots hitting Colin when a large group of people tried to push their way into the club. Mills was later arrested and charged with murder. Abilene police responded to that 3rd murder just after midnight Tuesday, October 29th. They got a call about an injured person in the 5200 block of Highway 277 at Clack Street. Police say 47-year-old David Vasquez died after being shot. 25-year-old Jalen Schaefer was arrested and charged with murder. The man accused of shooting an Abilene police officer the night of December 10th after a traffic stop was found dead inside a house on Locust Street in the early morning hours of December 13th. Police say James Wesley Key died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. They found him after a standoff that lasted several hours. And those are a look at some of the top crime stories for 2024. President-elect Donald Trump survived an assassination attempt this year. KTXS investigative reporter Karina Hollingsworth sat down with Congressman Jody Arrington in July to get his reaction.
Where were you when you first heard about the attempted assassination?
I was on travel with the Western Caucus. It's a group of members of Congress who are champions for rural America, ag and energy, and I was with my family. And we immediately turned on the news. I got phone calls and texts, but I think everybody was getting information, the same information, kind of real time. Then we turned the TV off and our phones off and got on our knees and prayed for the president. We prayed for the family who ultimately lost their dad and their husband and those others who were injured. So, and praying for the country that we would come out of this better and stronger, more unified, less divided.
And how did it make you feel when you heard about what happened?
I think first of all I was thinking, please Lord, don't let this assassination attempt be successful. And I prayed in my spirit for the president because I was informed that he'd been shot, but I didn't have any other information. I think the next thought I had was, what's this going to do to the country if he were shot and if he were killed? I think this would have been disastrous for the country. The country is divided, emotions are high. This election is probably the most consequential election in my lifetime, and the last thing we need is something like that to try to manage. I think the civil unrest would have been tremendous.
After the initial shock wore off, Congressman Arrington says he began to wonder how.
how in the world could someone breach the way this person did and have such an obvious security compromise within 200 yards of the president and a clean line of sight. Something went wrong, something wasn't right, and we need to get to the bottom of it. We need to hold people accountable. We need to make sure it doesn't happen again, most importantly.
You can watch that full interview on our YouTube channel, KTXS Abilene. The city of Clyde had its share of ups and downs this year. KTXS reporter Copeland Welch takes a look back at those challenges and how the city's ending the year on a hopeful note.
This year was an emotional roller coaster for many residents in Clyde. It all started in August when the city manager told us it would be a matter of months before the city's main water supply went dry. To help prevent this water shortage, the city implemented Stage 3 water restrictions, entering a water emergency. Things took a turn when the city missed a municipal bond payment the same day these water restrictions were put into place. Following this default, the city's credit rating was lowered from A- to D. The financial research company that lowered the rating said this default resulted from a drop in revenue from the city's waterworks and sewer systems. All eyes turned to city officials as we learned the city missed 3 municipal bond payments and released their financial audit nearly an entire year late. While we tried to get answers from Clyde, city officials remained silent.
He is in a meeting right now, so he is not available.
And after 2 weeks, a bondholder told us he sold his bonds after hearing about the default. In September, the city council held a standing room-only meeting where 22 residents expressed concerns about Clyde's financial health. This meeting quickly got emotional after some citizens called for city leaders to resign.
And I think you, Mr. McGuire, should resign.
And despite much pushback, a 29% tax rate increase was adopted at this meeting. The city felt the pressure and held a highly attended town hall meeting a week later with hopes of improving its transparency. But residents we talked to there told us they left with more questions than answers. After these challenges, 2 new faces joined the city council. And after a competitive race, residents told us they bring fresh perspectives and the city is hopeful to turn things around. In Clyde, I'm Copeland Welch, KTXS News.
Abilene ISD faced some budget shortfalls in 2024, and KTXS covered that from beginning to end. Alejandra Puente has a recap on Abilene ISD's budget this year.
Abilene ISD faced some hard decisions when it came to their budget this year. Around April of this year, the Board of Trustees discussed the possibility of selling 2 vacant buildings to help with their planning of the 2024-2025 budget. They were aware already that they had to make some cuts to decrease a deficit they were expecting. That same month, the district declared Fannin Elementary School and Woodson Early Childhood Center as 2 surplus properties. They were vacant buildings taking up district resources, according to AISD. At the end of July, shortly after the arrival of Superintendent John Kuhn, AISD announced a district-wide hiring freeze due to concerns with their financial health. Some contributing factors were declining student enrollment and federal funding dollars that are being received due to those numbers, according to AISD. In late August, the district approved the 2024-2025 budget that included a nearly $13 million deficit. They are expecting a total revenue of nearly $142 million this year, but to spend almost $155 million. The district said that the deficit was largely due to the expiration of the elementary and secondary school emergency relief program funds, which is based on student enrollment. Abilene ISD decided they would use their general fund to pay for the rest of their school year. More recently, the district announced plans to donate the Woodson Early Childhood Center to the Woodson Legacy Committee, this decision helping preserve money and resources. All districts in the state of Texas were expecting a deficit, including AISD, and throughout the year they have made many decisions with the goal to have that deficit number be as low as it can be.
Alejandra, thank you. Cities and towns all over the big country have struggled with road conditions. KTXS reporter Brenna Gibbons has a recap on some of the street projects we covered this year.
This year, KTXS covered many different roads throughout the big country that residents said needed some work done. From Abilene to Ballinger, there are many roads that people said are not the best quality. Anson residents said they were upset about the potholes in the area. One resident said that there are so many that it's more likely to see a big pothole in the road than to not. In Ballinger, some residents said they hit potholes that were so bad it caused them to damage their cars. However, the interim city manager plans to fix it. The city of Abilene also had many roads that needed some work done. North 21st Street was one of them. Residents said that their road conditions were so bad that they felt they couldn't even go for a stroll down the street. Corsicana Avenue is closed and will remain closed going into the new year to have a full rehabilitation. Residents were glad about the work being done, but felt it was a minor inconvenience. TxDOT also put some effort into making some of the busier roads a little safer. They added some concrete barriers along Highway 83 to help prevent future accidents. Between the roads that need to be fixed and the ones that have had work done, the streets have been an ongoing issue throughout the year for many people within the Big Country. Reporting for KTXS News, I'm Brenna Gibbons.
Coming up on KTXS News, we had several extreme weather events. KTXS Chief Meteorologist Mark Rowlett and KTXS meteorologist Caden Dinkins will have our 2024 weather recap after this.
Getting the facts right and alerting you to weather danger. You're watching KTXS News at 10 with Will Jensen and your storm alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Mark Rowlett.
We began 2024 coming off the warmest year on record in Abilene, so no surprise our winter wasn't too bad.
We had measurable snowfall in the Ballinger area mid-January, a little wintry mix in Abilene late February. Severe weather season started early. Here is video of a tornado near Sagerton on Groundhog Day. This EF2 tornado moved through mainly open fields, except when it reached this property where it did significant damage. Our region was treated to a partial solar eclipse on April 8th. The zone of total darkness was just to our east. This region had its share of large hail, which seems to accompany most storms in the spring through early summer. Many severe thunderstorms also brought very strong winds. A portion of this Union Pacific train was derailed by straight-line winds near Trent on April 23rd. Less than a week later, another tornado moved northeast through much of Knox County. The EF2 tornado caused some damage to the south and east side of Knox City. This EF3 tornado developed west of Anson during the early evening hours on May 3rd and moved southeast, staying to the west side of US 277. It moved through a small community of homes west of Hawley, causing severe damage and injuries. Most of the tornado sightings for this season occurred south of Interstate 20, like this tornado just east of Ballinger also on May 3rd. This thunderstorm knocked down an LCRA high-voltage transmission line tower as it moved south near Dual.
Starting out part of the summer on June 11th, we saw a flash flooding event here, almost 2 feet of water under an underpass, but really at 1.73 inches recorded in Abilene. And as we enter the rest of June, 9th warmest on record, and then July skipped that part and got to the 12th driest on record. Not much rainfall there for them. In August, we really amped up the heat. Hottest temperature ever recorded, 113 degrees, which beat out the previous record we only met just a few days prior at 111 degrees, making us the 5th warmest August on record and the 7th warmest month ever on record out of all the months out of all the years, which also led us to have many 100-degree days, 40 days in Abilene, 61 in St. Angelo, with their hottest being 112, just a degree behind us. As we enter to September, the rainfall came back around, the 8th wettest September on record, and the joke goes is when the fair comes to town, so does the rain. Well, this time it came before and after, getting to 6.45 inches for September. Going out to October, we had quite a few astronomy things going on. We see the Atlas comet coming around and then the aurora borealis across the area. Many beautiful sights to see. Unfortunately, on the other side, the warmest October ever recorded and almost the driest. We started out with not so much, ended with a lot in November, really helped us out. As we entered to November, lots of rainfall on the 7th, another flooding event there. And as we enter to the rest of November, 5.9 inches total across the month. 9th warmest November on record, almost 30 inches for 2024, and the average temperature 0.1 away from the warmest year on record, which is last year.
Despite 2 long spells of dry weather, Abilene is finishing the year with over 3 inches above normal rainfall. And we look to finish in the top 2 of warmest years ever recorded. Stay with us. Tyler Green is up next with a look back at the year in sports.
Good evening, Big Country. Well, it's been a heck of a year for Big Country sports across the board, as we had a couple of first-time champions, new faces in new places, and the addition of a whole new team. Here's a look back at a memorable 2024 in sports. We start this 2024 recap with the latest Big Country news. For the first time since 2013, the Stanford Bulldogs were headed back to the state title game, and just like 2013, they were led by legendary coach Wayne Hutchinson. And it was a historic matchup as it took 3 overtimes to decide a winner. But even though the results were a bit different, the 2024 Bulldogs will still go down in Stanford history.
I love this bunch, and I told them, as far as I'm concerned, that they're champions too. They're state champions in my heart. We may not be getting that ring, we may not be getting that gold medal, but I'm going to tell you what, these guys are champions, and they're going to have a successful life, I promise you.
And those weren't the only Big Country Bulldogs that competed for a state championship this year. After 30 years of trying, Ira head coach Tony Goodwin finally made an appearance in Round Rock, and his Bulldogs left their mark, claiming Ira's first state title.
And to get to do it with this group of kids, I'm so blessed, so blessed.
However, they weren't alone representing the Big Country in Austin, as the Holly Bearcats were able to break through the regional finals barrier and finish the season in the state title game. Meanwhile, all 3 Abilene college football programs accomplished something that's never happened in the history of the city. Each team won at least a share of their conference championship. A first for ACU in Division I, back-to-back years for HSU, and in the first year of their conference for the Warhawks. Both the Wildcats and the Cowboys would go on to make second-round appearances in the college football playoffs, another first for the Cats. And the Cowboy football team might not have been the most dominant team on their own campus. That title would go to the women's basketball team, as the Cowgirls won the conference tournament, earning a chance to host the first round of the NCAA tournament, which helped them reach the Sweet 16 for the first time since 2006. On the high school court, a couple of Big Country teams battled it out for a state title, as the Jayton Jayhawks and Benjamin Mustangs squared off in San Antonio. Then, in the summer, we had UIL realignment, as several Big Country and Concho Valley teams were welcomed into new districts. But that change was nothing compared to the head coaching carousel we saw in the world of high school football, as a huge number of first-year head coaches led their teams into the 2024 season. The Big Country was represented well all year in state championships, as the Lady Lions from Roby made it back-to-back state titles in track and field, while Early and Roscoe took the top podium spots for powerlifting at the state championships. And while 2024 was an incredible year for Big Country sports on the field, on the court, or even on the diamond, 2025 looks to bring the heat and bring us more historic performances.
Welcome back. KTXS reporter Brenna Gibbons took part in a pie eating contest this year for a good cause. Meals on Wheels teamed up with United Supermarkets for their Easy as Pie campaign. It gave people the chance to donate $5 to Meals on Wheels in exchange for a coupon for a free pie. They kicked off the event with that pie eating contest in November. They said it was the perfect way to give back to those in need and get a holiday treat in return. And even though Brenna didn't win, she said it was fun to take part. And the pie was delicious. If you missed the 2024 total eclipse this year, no worries. KTXS hosted a special eclipse show that day. We had cameras in multiple locations for the best viewing experience. Farrah Walton hosted it along with Caden Dinkins.
The countdown has officially begun. So everybody make sure you have your glasses ready, your pinholes ready. Yes. Yeah, we can see the moon is almost completely over the sun now.
It might get a little bit shorter, but it's almost to where that's exactly where we're going to see it.
Here it is. Wow, look at that.
And that's about how much we're probably going to see here.
Wow, wow. You can just see the little tiny ring to the right.
almost like a little crescent moon.
You can watch our full eclipse coverage on our YouTube channel, KTXS Abilene. Thanks for watching our KTXS 2024 Year in Review. We hope you have a good night and a Happy New Year.